Hey, good morning everybody. Kay here on the homestead, and as most of the country knows, we're in for an Arctic blast. Say that 10 times. Arctic blast today. And right now it's 46 degrees and I am bringing in 3 days worth of firewood. I have a few pieces in there, but a full cart only gets me a day and a half if I keep the fire going, and I want to be able to have the wood inside so I don't have to step outside. First we're going to have some rain, and then the temperature is going to continue to drop. This is a dangerous situation, of course, because if any wind picks up, we could have power lines snapping from the ice on the power lines. So we're going to have snow about 10 o'clock, and then it's just going to keep dropping all the way till 5 a.m. It's going to be 2 degrees. So we're going from a high of 52 today, and it's going to drop 50 degrees before tomorrow morning. So everybody needs to have their backup systems ready. All right, let me get a load and then we'll sit down and have a chat, because there's something on my mind. Wow. Oh, I actually have to do that. I have to unload that, and I have to bring that cart back out 2 more times. So I just wanted to get this off my chest because, hey, we're trying to grow our own food, right? This is so much on my mind. Ever since my rain video, the E. coli in the rain that came up from this test that was done at the water department. That video went viral. It's got over 560,000 views, and of course that took me completely by surprise, and it just goes to show you what people are concerned about and what's facing all of us. Now, in terms of that situation and the fluoride situation, I did a follow-up video on fluoride. I'll put the link up there. You know, we can control somewhat our water by all these filtration systems, but it struck me that thousands of comments, the last I looked it was 5,000 or 6,000 comments on that viral video. Out of the ones that I read, I would say pretty much 50% of the people are aware and concerned about what's coming down from the sky. Not just E. coli, but heavy metals and nanoparticles and only God knows what else. Well, no, there are people who know. But this is something, you know, we're just not supposed to talk about on YouTube and everything, but it affects every gardener. So if you don't have a greenhouse to shield your plants, which means you've got to irrigate. So in my case, so many people say, Kay, you've got to have a greenhouse, you've got to have a greenhouse, you've got to have a greenhouse. I know that. And there are reasons I don't have one yet. Namely, I don't have any flat ground, so I would have to excavate or build it up or something, which is expensive. I mean, even if you just look at a regular hoop house that's large, I would have to have a large one. It's thousands of dollars, so I can't do that. And then the question remains, who's going to build it? So, okay, all that set aside, that's my problem. All that set aside is like assuming that you can't have a greenhouse and you just have a little garden. You know, and all of this stuff is coming down from the sky, and people don't want to talk about it. And people don't want to believe it. But all you have to do is use your own eyes. I saw this video the other day, and it said that, you know, it was just a video. It was an orange, and it said on there something to the effect that if people tell you long enough that what you're seeing is a lemon, not an orange, you'll accept that. Right? So, your eyes don't lie. My hands are cold. I'm over at Daryl's yesterday. He had some great suggestions for how to keep the gardening life going during this cold winter. You know, we just had winter solstice yesterday, and he said, Kay, there's so many things. People think, oh, I can't do anything till spring. And he had a whole list, so I hope you'll watch that video. Anyway, while we were standing there, we were talking about this stuff, the streaks in the sky, and he was saying that before every big storm front, he'll come out a couple days before and he'll see all this stuff. But what struck me and I have too, and many people have, many people report on this, and there is a very, very dedicated to humanity person who studies all this and has a website. I'll try to put the link below, but most people know what it is and know who he is. But he said, I was listening to one of his interviews the other day, and he was saying there is no more natural weather. So I don't know if this Arctic blast is truly a natural phenomenon or what. But when I was coming home from Daryl's, sun has gone down, but there's still light in the sky. It's 4 something. There's an area where it really opens up. Now, when I was growing up, I just had this very limited view, because I grew up in Tennessee. I had this very limited view of the sky. First of all, we had a small house, a small yard, just like in my place in California. And you'd go out and you'd see trees here, and then you go up, you get a piece of sky from here to here, and then the next person's trees would be. So you'd have a piece of sky like that big. And so here in Tennessee, we've got a lot of trees, we've got a lot of hills, but sometimes, it really opens up. And there's this area that's really opened up about, 10 miles from my house. And I'm just looking at this network of streaks, and I'm going, we're already dealing with this natural Arctic blast. I assume it's natural. And then all these streaks. And so there's one in particular that really got to me because the smoke was not white. And, the difference between what normally comes out of a jet, the condensation, that will dissipate. The plane will be out of sight, and this will be disappearing behind it as you watch it. Not true with the other. But in my knowledge, it's always been whitish or, beige, this smoke that's being sprayed. And what happens is it lingers and then it dissipates, and then it just looks like it's a hazy day. I saw this video the other day. A camera had been posted from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and there were something like, I think it was 72 flights crisscrossed over, and started out with a clear sky, and by the end of it, it was just all haze. But the one last night, I think I stopped 3 or 4 times. I stopped 4 times. Yeah, and then all the way to my house. I saw it all the way to my house. And so that was a good 15 minutes. Because of the way the light was at sunset, it was really defined. It was like a charcoal, if you've ever been to art class. And they made you use those stubby charcoal pencils. It was like that. Whoosh! Skinny all the way down, and it was dark. So I took those few pictures. I was just stunned that I got all the way home, and this thing was right over kind of over my property in the front there, and across the road, and of course much farther all along the way. Everybody gets it, so whatever it is. So my plan is, I don't know how we have plans. This is completely out of our control unless we can. Who are these pilots? That's what I can't get out of my mind. Who are the pilots? that are flying these planes because they know what they're doing. They probably have families. Maybe some of them. I mean, what if? This is what I pray for. I pray for divine intervention. And I pray for God to put a little come to Jesus moment in every one of those pilots' heads and go, wake up. What am I doing? I'm poisoning the earth. Now, I don't have proof yet, but I am going to, other than the E. coli, I don't have proof that the E. coli in my rainwater sample came from the sky. Although, when I read the comments, oh my gosh, people knew a lot more than I did. I got a real education from the comments. Now, many people speculate because we're not being told. You know, if we were being told, there would be anarchy, right? So they can't tell us. They show us, but they can't tell us. But the big shocker in the, I mean, I knew actually, but the big shocker in the comments was a couple of people that I read, maybe more, said they're doing it at night now because so many people are wising up. They're doing it while we're sleeping. So when we wake up, we just have a hazy morning and we say, well, it's a hazy morning. You know? So, and some people had proof of that. They were taking a floodlight and going out and taking pictures. My only experience of that is one balmy night in August. I think it was August or September. I had the windows open. I rarely have the windows open here. And I was sitting there working at my desk, probably replying to comments. I spend hours doing that, by the way. I'm sitting there and I hear this jet go over and I'm thinking, and it sounded lower, you know, than it would be if it was taking off at B&A, which is the international airport in Nashville, and going to a flight northeast. So I thought, that's odd. And I went outside and I looked up, and right above my whole garden down there, so if you looked straight up from my garden, it would be there. And I look up at the sky and I can see clear sky on either side of this big swath of cloud. It was literally a swath, long streak of cloud right over my garden. And I thought, wow. What are we gonna do, everybody? Everybody can't have a big greenhouse and have an inside operation, but a friend of mine has been telling me this for 2 years, that the future of food is going to be indoors. But I say, let's have a powerful prayer vigil and ask for divine intervention. I've got a hair in my face. Oh, there it is. And have these pilots walk off the job. You know, we can't do anything about the forces that are causing this. And this of course ties into, you know, the climate change agenda with the World Economic Forum's, you know, making everybody say, oh, people are dying because of climate change. Come on, people, don't be listening. I mean, that's pure propaganda that they want you to believe. If the climate is changing, it's because of that. The climate is going through its normal change. The weather's different. You have climate and you have weather. And this is weather modification. The government acknowledges that they're doing it. There's HARP and there's DARPA and there's... Anyway, this is all what's on my mind. How can I grow a garden when everything is working against us? You know, a healthy garden. Please leave me a comment and tell me what you think. You know, this is just what I think. You know, I'm not a scientist. I'm not an insider. All I know is this anecdotal that I get from so many people writing me, and the small amount of research I've done. I bought a new rain gauge. It's still in the box. It may rain today. I'm going to switch it out with the one I have and get another rain sample and take it to an independent lab, and I want them to test for everything. Everything. I mean, I did leave a message and the guy did not call me back. So we'll see if I'm able to accomplish that. But that's my plan going forward. I hope this is helpful. I hope this gets you to think about what we're going to do. You know, there are much more of us, many more of us than them. So what can we do? You know, besides pray and put all our faith in God, of course. You know, but he tells us to put on the full armor. He doesn't say sit back and let them poison you. As long as you believe in me, go ahead, get poisoned. You know, I don't think that was the plan. You know, so let me know what you think in the comments below. God bless you. Have a wonderful holiday season. Don't forget the bundt cake bake-off. You gotta bake a bundt cake or tube pan cake. Or if you don't have either one of those, don't worry, just upside down cake. Bake a cake, make it look pretty and tasty, and take a picture, a horizontal picture, and send it to me. My address, my email address is at on the About page of my homepage. Then I've got the Daryl video, that's going up, and what else has to happen before? Well, I've got to make the bundt cake video, so all that before Sunday. So stay tuned.